Right, this Sunday morning, the hothouse is complete construction-wise. Just a matter of planting up and having the fun of plant selection. Saying that, I spent all yesterday or Saturday doing some of the permanent plantings at the back, but I'm not going to go into that yet because I need to have a bit of a tidy up. But yeah, in general, the it's finished, the build itself. I will just explain for people who were not aware, when I moved into this house 17, 18 years ago, this is where the garage was. So a bit of a eyesore, sort of looking out the back window. Instead of seeing a garden, you just had a concrete sectional garage, and we had it for a few years, filled with junk. It's just a waste of space. So we knocked it down, and I had a pond here for many years, big koi pond, which I was built to exact size of the original garage, but we sunk it down a bit. So we sunk it down 2 foot and raised it 2.5 foot. And due to various reasons, last year we shut the koi pond down. It was the original plan. I always had this in my head that, making a proper sort of hothouse, as it were. But the wife weren't too happy about it at the time. She had other ideas, so we made it into a sunken sitting area for a few months. Didn't really use it, so I sort of talked around and sort of more or less let the idea settle. That's her idea, and yeah, so we've completed the build anyway, and it was a little bit awkward because I had to cut a hole in the wall of the original pond, for access to make steps to get down into it. And then obviously this build was an afterthought, so I haven't increased the cut on the walls. That was quite a big job, messy job, and it wasn't necessary because the double doors open up here were so big that I couldn't have it in the wall, as it were, because the roof would have been too high a pitch. So I had to do the roof sort of coming up behind the door, as it were. If that pitch would have been a bit more, and that would have took me over the threshold for planning permission. So we kept it under that height by having the doors at the front and sort of building it behind almost. So there's the reason why the door is how it is. I mean, it's worked quite nicely. I mean, they're double doors, they both open up. There's plenty of room, even just with one door, to get down, and it gives me a nice sort of shelf there for plants. So that's sort of the bit of the background on that. Yeah, so in general, the build is complete. Like I say, it's just a matter of playing about with the plant layout. Most plants are going to be in pots. We have got some permanent plantings at the end. I'll do a separate video on that. Yeah, so in general, it doesn't look too bad. I mean, we're trying to create a tropical garden, and that's going to give me the opportunity to grow some more true tropical plants, and some sort of plants that you class as house plants, but they've got a bit of hardiness to them, and they'll probably survive over winter with that protection of the actual house, the hot house itself, hopefully. And we are going to keep it just above freeze, and that's going to be kept frost free. So yeah, so in general, I think that turned out all right. Like I say, I mean, that's not an eyesore in the garden. That's like quite a nice structure. We can see straight through. So even if you look at the back, you can see through the patio windows and the back window to the foliage in the garden. So yeah, in general, very pleased. It's all finished, and I'll do a video later on, or maybe tomorrow, on the plants inside once I've tidied up and got the things sorted the way I want them to sit. I mean, everything's going to be temporary because there's a lot of sort of tropical palms in there at the minute, which will go indoors for winter, and then vice versa. There's a lot of plants outside that will need a bit of protection, which will go in there. So that's a, you know, spring and autumn, that's going to be a shuffle of plants, but in general, you know, we've got a, maybe you can hear a little frog croaking in the pond. I don't know why that is, not this time of year. Anyway, so you have to ignore the soy looking Trachycarpus. That was the transplant from a couple of years ago. I'm hoping next year, now it's got its roots in, that's going to start taking off. Right, so that's just an update on there. So I mean, in general, the build, I'd say it was straightforward, but I'm only one man, and it's taken me, you know, between working a full-time job, it's taken me this long just to get it done. And we have done a few extra bits that I weren't planning to do originally, like we've added shelves, some wider shelves, because it's only about a 3-inch shelf around the perimeter of the wall, so I did increase the shelf level just at this end, both sides, so we've got a 7-inch shelf there for slightly wider pots. But yeah, little things like that. I mean, it all takes time, and bearing in mind this was a conservatory which I had to, you know, alter and sort of amend bits to make them fit. And the back wall, like I say, was the original roof of the conservatory, so that's luckily covered the whole back wall by cutting down the panels and whatnot. So the only thing I really had to do, which, you know, that's nice to have glass so you can look in and look out, but I had to do on the very back wall a small panel of polycarbonate just to make up that side, and obviously at the front we had to do the same. With the polycarbonate, which is not ideal, but at the end of the day it's going to work for what I want it for us. It's about the plants, not really so much about the structure. I mean, it's solid, it's going to hold up to the wind and the snow and whatever Mother Nature throws at it, so that's going to hold up in that sense. Yeah, it's about the plants really, and if the structure looks half decent, that's a bonus in my eyes, and things will fill out in there and grow better than it will do in the garden. Still got a few plants I need to move in there. I've got a whole seating area here which is just full of, well, a couple of benches with a load of plants sort of leftovers from what I was selling, and so that's all sort of more or less hardy stuff. But behind that we've got a couple of palms which need to go in the hothouse. We've got a foxtail palm which would really benefit from going in there, because the summer we've had has not been good for growing sort of the more tropical palms outside, so I'll get that in the hothouse and hopefully get a bit of growth on that before winter kicks in. Saying that summer won't be very good, we're now approaching probably the hottest week of the year, at least here in Suffolk. It's supposed to be sort of 26s, 27s all week, so that's probably as hot as that's been, and I think we'll leave it there. I mean, like I say, we're going to do another update either late today or tomorrow on the inside, and we'll walk around inside, look at the plants and look at the new plantings I've done. Right, let's leave it there. Thanks for watching.